Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Legion Lads. I'm your host, JR. Today we got John and Jose. What's up, guys?
Yo.
Yo.
I know my screen looks a little dark. I have it dark because my son's sleeping, but hopefully everyone can see me just fine. So I'm like, I feel like I'm Palpatine with the little ominous shadow going on. Oh,
JR from the
Palpatine.
shadows.
yeah, take it to the shadow realm, baby. Um, so
You're like
this,
coming out of the shadow realm.
yeah, gonna take your soul. So just going over some announcements, guys. To our local guys, we actually have a tournament coming up June 22nd. That's gonna be for June's tournament, local tournament. So if you can make it out today to that, that'd be awesome. It'll be a good practice zone for your practice list for Vet Fest if you plan to go to Vet Fest, because Vet Fest is July 12th. So again, reaching out to all the locals and the nearby cities and anybody that can make it, please do. It'd be awesome for you guys to come. We're trying to get as many people as we can, hopefully 32 players, because we also want to make this a GT next year. So we want to be able to show that, like, hey, this event is a big event. So please do try to come to that. If you ever decide to come to one of our tournaments, definitely let it be Vet Fest. Um, Super excited for that. Um, and then of course we got LVO coming up in October. I think it's the fourth. Well, it's the weekend, third to the fifth. Um, so yeah, that's exciting. I know the
That's a
boys.
fast turnaround,
It,
bro.
it is. It is. I know it
Uh,
hurts. It hurts the
For you,
wallet.
I missed it, but for you, that's a fast
It is.
turnaround. You too,
It's
John.
gonna hurt the wallet, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of blast. Like I'm looking forward to it, especially if the boys can go. So that'd be awesome.
I'm locked in. I'm going for sure.
Hell yeah. So. But that's the news we got for you guys. So today, this week, what I wanted to talk to the lads about is Jose had inspired me. So Jose had made a comment, a rather blanket comment that he, corrected himself on, but he said the ARFs are trash, and I strongly disagree with that. So we're gonna do a tier list of all the special force units. Now,
Just put him in F.
I was gonna do the like all Gar faction, but I was just like, you know what? He said ARFs are trash, and he's comparing to the special forces slot. So we need to see if by the end of
I was
this,
comparing it in faction, man.
but we're gonna
uh,
we're, we're gonna compare them, and we're gonna see are ARFs trash. You boys ready for this?
yep.
hmm
All right, let me share my screen.
Close
Yeah,
those tabs.
close them now. All right. Can you boys see this?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So listen, I want you guys' opinions. I want you guys to let me know where you stand. And if I disagree with you, you're clearly wrong. So,
You're forcing them into D slot. You gotta put F on there.
I guess I could do that.
Yeah, add an
Add a
F.
add a row below. There
Put
we
it
go.
put AR and then capital F, and then we'll just put the ARFs there.
I don't think you're gonna put them there. I honestly don't think so. Like you're out of your mind if you're gonna put them in F. But let's now S
Well, when you're
obviously.
comparing to the field, obviously not. But when I'm talking about in the faction,
Well, that's
yes.
that's the point. That's the whole point. And you know what's a little interesting is like as I'm getting all the special forces units for this tier list, uh obviously Shadow Collective only has one. CIS only has three. Empire has five. Rebels, my God, Rebel I think has like seven. And then Gar has five
That's
as well.
perfect. It goes, those seven special forces go with their 24 commanders. Oh, sorry, they only have four. Sorry, Nick.
I honestly I just where's the CIS love and give us some more special forces? That's so
Your
annoying.
special forces are fine. That's why you don't need any more.
Nah, man. How often do you see BXs?
I like playing with them.
I like playing with them too, but I mean, you definitely don't see a whole lot of them. But I think they have some legs. I mean, obviously you've seen them a lot in EXD.
Oh, I
So for
saw I saw Dallin play them and they hurt me a lot.
yeah, yeah, Dallin was wrecking with them. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So the first one we got, boys, is the Maul Mandalorians. John, how do you feel about these guys? Like play style and whatnot?
I mean, I haven't really played against them a whole lot or like played with them per se. So, I mean, I know they can hit hard, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. So like, I'll probably say like C for
Giving you a
me.
C? Okay, okay. Like you played against them though, right?
Not often.
Okay, I got to change that. Jose, what about you, my man?
I'm putting them in C, and I play them. So
Yeah. Why
they
you put
need
him in
a
C?
because they suffer from the normal Mando curse of we have surge to defense, but I'm not gonna roll surges. I'm gonna roll blanks because that's what they do. And once you start losing minis, especially in actually in any Mandalorian unit, like your return on investment starts getting hampered. Um, because of that, you need to take them with some type of heal because they're in Shadow Collective. That means investing in buses, which is the way to take them. Um, and it just sucks because you can raw dog the Mandos, but you're gonna have to hope and pray on those dice. Whereas the bus just seems like, Rebels, you pay the trooper tax.
Mm,
Gar, you pay the trooper tax. And Shadow Collective, if you're running Mandos, you're paying the bus medic tax. There's no way around it. You need mobile line of sight, you need medics, and that alleviates a lot of the issues they have. And makes it better when you do miss those single rolls. I played him against Edward, and Edward was like, "Smash! Two of them go down. Cool. This bus is gonna heal one. This other bus is gonna heal one." Edward, I brought three Mandos, and Edward probably killed like he killed three extra Mandos. Like just and I just kept healing. Like
yeah.
it's the bus if the had the buses not been there, like Edward steamrolls those Mandos all the time. And some of it was just dice luck. Like he managed to get a full unit of riots in there, and the riots went off. But luckily, my saves held up, so I lost one, but then healed it right back. So C, just because, like I said, they have typical Mando problems, and you need to pay the bus tax, which in Shadow Collective isn't too bad, but you know it's still bringing a bus. But I guess it doesn't matter because you have a lot. You don't. It's not like you have a lot of units fighting for that spot.
Mm.
I think this becomes a harder conversation when the pirate ship comes out. Because now you have competition in that heavy slot, and then if you take that pirate ship, your Mandas are gonna have no heals, and so that on top of them also being like super expensive if you want to kit them out to survive. Like if you don't have a bus, you got to take those points and invest them into defensive tech. So, very finicky unit. They're definitely a skill unit, but you do need help. So I would put them in C, and if they get knocked down later on to D, then we'll make that conversation then. But as right now, like within their faction, yes, I said faction, C.
I would have to agree with you guys. I love the mall Mandalorians. I
They're
think they're a lot
beautiful
of
models.
fun. They're so beautiful and they're a lot of fun. They got a lot of kit, and I agree with you, Jose. They do got to pay the tax for the bus. But again, it's not that bad, like you had said, because you don't have a whole lot of options to choose from. The only thing I gripe is that I feel like they're obviously very restricted, right? Like I wish these guys could be played in other factions. Obviously, we know why they can't be because they weren't around for that. But just them being limited to just Shadow Collective, I think like nerfs them pretty bad because again, Shadow Collective doesn't have a lot of options, so you're kind of playing a list that is kind of like, well, these guys are taking the bulk of it, right? Whereas like a list that has like, I feel like if you're running these, you're running at least three or four in Shadow Collective, where in
It's
other
hard to run for, man.
it is hard. It gets pricey at that point, right? But it's fun. But I feel like if they were able to be taken in other factions, like you could just use one or two, and then they would have more of a, you know, playability. But being
A
restricted just
presence.
Shadow Collective kind of like hurts them because what you can take is Shadow Collective, everything's kind of fighting for that slot. And like you had said, Jose, they're pretty
Yeah.
pricey. So it's like, oh, okay, do I make my whole list just Mandalorians or do I make them Pikes? Do I make them Black Suns? And yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
me and me.
I
Oh,
was
go ahead,
gonna
John.
say, like I would agree with that. Like, I just don't see them a lot. I don't see a lot of Shadow Collective. The last time I saw it was LVO. And I feel like you can take them, but like you just said, like you could take Black Sun, who hit maybe a little bit harder. Um, like there's just a lot of different options, and you're just not seeing them as much on the field.
Yeah.
For the price you're paying for a kitted out Mando with like let's say gunslinger, let's say gunslinger, their shields, um uh the uplink that lets them get an aim or a dodge emergency transponder.
Mm.
At that point, you're hitting that 100 plus range, and you're paying 100 plus because you're fitting in a bunch of defensive tech. Why am I going to do that when I can pay 100 plus and get six Black Sun with a shotgun and a beefy core and extra six bodies that throw two red in or a red in melee, shoot out 16 dice or whatever. Like it's
Yeah,
you just take Black Sun at that point, because you're playing that range two bubble anyways, and the game's for by round two you're already in that range two threat. So it's just hard to quantify that. I mean, me like I said, me and Roman really want to run four Mandalorians. I bought a fourth set of Mandos from Scott. And looking at the list types, dude, like me and Roman, we're struggling to hit nine acts with four Mandos, and that's with the extra 200 points. And that keep in mind, four Mandos was a thing you could do at 800 points.
Hmm.
So it's like even
yeah,
with that extra 200, man, you're running three naked core, two buses, maul maybe, and a Vigo, and like it just nine acts, nine frail acts. Because keep in mind, you got kitted out Mandos. You don't have beef in the core position,
Yeah.
so
mm,
it's rough. It's definitely a skill piece. I know our buddy Brad is a Shadow Collective believer, and he does solid work with his Shadow Collective. So it can be done. Not saying it can't. It's just it's a skill piece. Like I would say they're not new user friendly, if
Mm.
that makes sense.
Which
mm.
it does make sense. It's hard. But yeah, I think you guys are right. C is in a good spot. Moving on, we're gonna go to CIS. BXs, Jose. Where do you think BXs should go?
Are
And we're
we
not talking.
speaking on
We're
BX's
talking.
overall?
You just no, just the full squad. We're gonna get to the strike team as well.
No,
But
no, I know, but are we talking about BX's in CIS or BX's is in EXGs?
however you want to use them, like whatever you feel they should be at.
Ugh.
So like this is kind of like where our conversation was when we were talking about arcs or ARFs, I'm sorry, is you could compare this to anything. This is the special force tier list. Like you gotta let me know, like, hey, these guys are good, these guys are bad because of
Well,
X, Y, and Z.
yeah, no, why I was asking about within the battle force because the battle force lets these guys with the token move at speed 3, and that's a big difference.
Sure. Yeah, that is a big difference. And they
That
have been really good in that.
I use BXs a lot because I don't own Magnas. So I have a lot of experience with BX units. I just because of their versatility, you could take them as charging melee units. You could take them as a kind of like a weaker gun line option if you want to go that route. I would put them at B just because they're another utility piece. Um, I would say skillful, yes, but in a realm where your order control dictates like when you move those certain pieces, I would say it's a lot easier in CIS. And then when you combine them with like Kalani and Kraken and give them special moves and stuff, it really opens up what you can do. Um, the sword is a great option. I really wish the shield was cheaper. I wouldn't mind renting the shield just for the extra shield
Yes,
tokens.
I agree.
I feel like the shield is way overpriced. But no, I've won games with them. I've steamrolled with them, and I've also had them die to like a stiff breeze. But for that reason, like they're obviously better than Mandos. I'm not too sure if I would put them in A.
Hmm.
But conservatively, I would say they're a solid B tier unit.
Okay. All right, John, what you got?
So I feel like the BX, just the standard unit, is actually quite great. Just with the versatility they have, I think they have Scout 3, right?
They do. Hmm.
Yeah, so with everything being super close now, with all the different objectives, I think they could just get in when they want. Like they're in an army that you can fit maybe 12, 13 acts if you do it. So you could wait to make them go last. Like when I played against Dallin, he did them perfectly. Um, because then you just wait for them to go last. You move up with the speed 3 on the scout. You can get into um striking range very quickly. And they with the kit that you can put on them, they can be very deadly. They do have survivability. They have sharpshooter. Um, I think they're a great unit. I'm gonna put them at A tier actually.
Me too. Yeah, so I think I love the BXs. I think they're a lot of fun. I like the thing where you give them charge. I only wish they could take the shield and the charge. Like that would be super good. So like I like the different play styles. You could have them with the shield, the snipers, shoot from far range. They got the sharpshooter one. A little bit unreliable dice, right? Because they shoot two whites. That is a lot of dice though. And then if you have the sniper, that's even more. And then you got the charge version where you give them the charging and they got the scout 3 and everything. It's not hard. The only problem is that, just like with any health one special forces, like once you start losing guys, you start losing your offensive power. And I think they suffer from being close because they don't surge defend. And the Pervious is pretty nice as well when it comes to Pierce. But yeah, you got to get close. I mean, which honestly is probably doable for the charge now that area terrain has been changed, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
Mhm.
I think that's a huge thing for them is the
I
area terrain.
I agree. But just seeing what else is in the factions, specifically Magna Guards, I think I have to put these guys in the B tier. So two against one, John. Just because Magnas do what. So in my opinion, BXs are faster. Um, but Magnus do what BXs do in melee a lot better. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's just my take on that.
yeah,
All right, moving on to strike teams. All right, here's my gripe about the strike teams. Did you know the most expensive snipers are the BXs? And I think that's garbage. I don't know why they're 40 points. Everybody else's sniper is cheaper and arguably a CIS, I think, is the worst strike team. Now that is up for debate because I'm not sold on that. Because
uh,
two reds, and now that pretty much AI is not a thing anymore, it's pretty easy to give them an aim. So it's two reds that are reliable, and you're getting Pierce one. Um, but it's just I feel bad that they have the most expensive. They don't surge. Oh yeah, they do surge. I take that back. Um, I don't know. I want to put these guys in C tier. I just don't. They're reliable. They're good. But for 40 points for a sniper, I think that's too much. What do you think, John?
uh, yeah. If we're gonna compare them to all special forces, and you're only gonna take them, like, probably C because you could give them shields, which is nice, but like, yeah, I don't think they're great.
Did I say where to put them at all?
Yeah, you said C.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
said C.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. All right. What about
Yeah,
you,
you
Jose?
put them in C. I
Yeah.
used them before, and the two dice are a lot more reliable now. Like we've had this talk before, and you think I'm crazy. Even back in old Legion, I was saying the two red dice are two red dice. Suppression is just as good as if you don't pierce, the suppression still mattered back in the old Legion.
Mhm.
Um, because not a lot of things are throwing two solid red die. You're almost guaranteed a hit every time. Um, but thing is now it's like we don't see sniper strike teams for a reason, and just where the game's at, um, it's just not a viable piece. To me, it's not viable in taking them. That it's throw two dice into you know a 20 act rebel list that's not doing much.
Mm.
And then you're
Yeah.
just gonna go get mauled by something. I am a fan of the shields. I do take the shields with them all the time just to give them an extra 2 hit points. But looking at this list and seeing all the stuff we have, like I'm only gonna put them in C because strike team wise, there's strike teams that are worse that are gonna be in D. So and they're
Yeah.
not even close to being in a B. Like I think we're talking B A S, like those are units that you're considering taking as your first options to be taken. And I don't believe this strike team's a first option, and I believe that there are strike teams that are worse. So I would put them in C. I'd agree.
See? Yep. All right, moving on. We got Magna Guards. Jose, how do you feel about Magna Guards, my man?
Haven't played with them. I've played against them, and they suck to play against.
Yeah, they do.
They're beef. They have a rocket launcher that has no cumbersome. Why I have AMG, you'll let these scout and use a non-cumbersome rocket launcher. That makes sense. Um, they got Guardian, they got Retinue.
To be fair, that
Um,
rocket launcher is expensive to use now.
yeah, but you're getting access to a rocket launcher you can use for all 5 turns.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
it's the only rocket launcher I believe that can be used all 5 turns. Without an infiltrate or without a prepare position. These boys are gnarly. They hit you like a truck. And if you're trying to hit anything that they're by when it comes to like commanders and operatives, is it just commanders or operatives too?
It's just commanders.
Okay. So if
Yeah.
you're trying to go at that Grievous or trying to go at that Dooku and these boys are around, like A, you're not gonna get any wounds through, and B, they're gonna beat your ass the next round for even attempting something so foolish. Um, Very flexible unit, very solid unit. I personally, just off of my games of playing against them, I would put them in A. They're super reliable, especially when you got to protect that Dooku or you got to protect that Grievous on the way in. And Guardian stock boys has gone up since we lost the upgrade that gives your chaff Guardian.
Yeah.
So that's another plus, and they get their retinue.
Yep.
Solid.
Retinue. Yep. That's true. What about you, John?
Yeah, so I know I put BXs at A, but I would also put Magna Guards at A. Just because they do very well at close quarters. They do have that Guardian. They also provide backup with Retinue, I believe.
No, I
So
think it's with Guardian they provide backup.
I thought it was with Retinue as well.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure backup is only if they're a core unit or if they have the Guardian keyword.
Because doesn't Iden get backup from
Inferno Squad?
Inferno? Yeah, because of Retinue.
Honestly, I don't know. We'll have to double check that,
Nobody plays Iden.
but
Anyways,
yeah,
uh, yeah, they're great. They can help keep your commander with Guardian safe. They're red safe. They hit hard. Um, they do what they do very well. Some put them in A.
okay. Yeah, I agree with you guys. They're two health. They're very tanky. They're a droid unit, so that means they always get their two actions. Let alone they have courage too. Just like for the reasons you guys said, mostly is like they got that guardian, they have retinue. With Grievous, they have entourage, so they always get an order. The whip's pretty good, right? Especially when everything wants to be next to a POI, can mobilize a unit. And
Oh yeah.
then I think the most important thing is they have the melee immune to pierce. For
Mm.
range, they kind of suck to get pierced, but in melee, they get immediately shut down the force user, right? There's no way it's gonna take a couple turns for the force user to kill these guys just because of the immune to pierce melee. But if the force user has a force push, that's a different story. It's just overall these guys are just very tanky and just, can take a hit. So I agree with you guys. A is definitely where I think they should be.
Mm.
All right, moving on. We got this one is the Imperial. It's not Inferno Squad. Imperial, what are these guys
Special
called?
Forces.
Thank you. Imperial Special Forces.
The
Um,
ISF.
the ISF. Jose, did you get a chance ever to play ISF?
Yeah, yeah, I did a lot of Iden 333 back in the day. I'm a ISF believer. I think that they are. I think they're just not being played because I guess there's a stigma around them. Um, and in my personal opinion, like with where things are right now with Empire, they should be considered to be taken. But yeah, no, I feel like they lost a little bit with the new changes. Especially to infiltrate, you're not allowed to just super sneak behind somebody on a Iden 3 pip turn and just blow them away. So they're a little bit more counterable on that Alpha Strike. But I do believe that they're still worth taking. Their price point's not super crazy. But like I said, when you compare it to the other special forces within Empire, like they're decent. They're a decent take, regardless if you have Iden or not. But then again, that just comes down to your play style. But I'm gonna just they're not special. I guess they don't have nothing that really knocks it home. I mean, realistically, you're doing the Iden 3 pip, you're infiltrating, you're hoping to land a good alpha, but against a good player, the alpha is probably not going to land, and if you try to detempo it and play it later, you're probably not gonna have enough bodies to make it make sense, or it's just gonna you're gonna be forced to play a 3 pip when you don't need to, when you'd be better to play something else. Um, I like them. Like I said, I think the problem with Empire is there's a lot of people that are refusing to cook with them essentially. Um, because Empire's already in a bad spot as it is, and that's what people taking what they think is a better unit. But I think if with the changes to Iden, changes to Callus, uh, I think that it opens the doors for these guys to actually work if somebody puts in the time to actually try to cook something up for them. But you know, I'm not thrilled about any Empire Special Forces really, and Inferno's gonna go above them, so I'm gonna put them at C. Just they're fun to take. You got to be they're another scalpel piece, but right now, like I think we'd have a lack of player reps with them to actually make a actual informed decision. So I put them at average.
What about you, John?
So I'm a little indifferent. I think they're D tier.
Oh,
Just compared to like all the other special forces, I think Jose is right. Just an Empire, I think they're C. But compared to other special forces and what they could do, I feel like with the new update they got weaker. I still think they still have their kit from old Legion. Like I don't think they got touched for new Legion, and I feel like in Empire there's better options than taking them. Um, and what they do. So I think compared if we're gonna compare special forces, like I think they're D tier.
so my take is I want to put them in a C tier because I think Imperial forces are still good. The problem is they're not good for the current state of the game because I feel like everybody's running units that do have a heavy melee or close range attack because of how the game is played. You want to be close to those POIs because if you look at Imperial Special Forces, they have infiltrate, which is a good mobility piece, right? You get to start on the field, you get to go, right? So you get in position. They have marksman, so that, you can turn one of your aims into a hit, crit, whatever you need, and they have reliable one. The problem is that these guys shoot the same close, because their guns 1 to 3, and most of the other special forces have been changed to accommodate them getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where Empire is suffering right now is that Empire has always been a gunline army. The problem is that this isn't a gunline game anymore, which is ironic because that's kind of what we were wanting, is that range two be more prominent. But now that it is, it leaves gun lines out in the wasteland, especially with the whole changes to area terrain with the line of sight blocking. It's like these guys, when they get their shots off, they're going to be in range two of something. And now range two guns hit harder than
Yeah.
range three or four, for that matter, which, you know, hopefully AMG does something to where, it's not always going to be set on a POI. But again, these I still think they're good, but because the way the state of the game is played, I'm gonna put them in C tier because of that.
They're gonna get the Pathfinder treatment.
Well, that
Deleted.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Moving on, we have Inferno Squad. Inferno Squad, however, I think has a little bit more of legs because they each have 2 health. Um, Again, there's only 3 models, so it's 6 health because you got to equip Del Mico and Gideon Hass. Now they still hit relatively hard because they're shooting 2 blacks at range 1 to 3 instead of the 1 black. They have
And they got
retinue.
reach with the sniper.
Yep.
Yep, yep, and that sniper isn't cumbersome, so you can move and shoot. They have infiltrate, reliable marksman, or reliable one marksman, and I think these guys. I want to put them in. Shoot, where do I want to put these guys? My vote. Okay, my vote is C only because you can only take one of these. Like it's a great range two option, but it only could take one, and that stinks.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
what about you, Jose?
On principle, they're gonna go in B because I think they're better than Clan Ren. I don't see Clan Ren dropping to D. And when you're taking these guys, it's because you're taking Miss Aiden. Aiden's gonna give them that retinue, gonna give them
Yep.
the things that they need to work with.
Yep.
The stretch on Delmico being able to hit at that 5, and with marksman, you can pretty much secure your shot. Repair's nice if you bring like I don't know a vehicle. If you happen to bring a vehicle, if not, it's a wasted keyword. But um, it's a good little split fire option as well. You can tag something with 2 red, 2 black, and then throw 2 black. Range 5 down. And like I said, you're taking them with Iden. Um, if you weren't if Iden wasn't a thing, they would definitely be in the C, but because you're gonna be playing them with Iden, they're gonna have access to things that regular ISF doesn't have. So, and like I said, they're better than Clan Ren, so I'm putting them in B just on principle of
Uh, Cameron, gotcha. All right. What about you, John?
I agree. I would put them at B tier. Just because like everything Jose said, like they have Del Mico can repair, you got the sniper, you got the whole kit
yeah,
that
coordinate. I forgot
yeah,
coordinate.
yep, you've got the coordinate that you can also use. Yeah, retinue with Iden. They just do a lot more than the ISF for sure, and they're just a heavier hitting unit. So I'm gonna say B.
Me? All right. Moving on, we got Death Troopers. Now, I think this one might be a little bit more spicy. Um, I'll start us off. Oh man, Death Troopers. Like on paper, these guys look amazing. The problem is that I think they're too expensive. I think a lot of things in Empire are too expensive. Um, but again, the ready one keyword I think needs to be swapped out because all the changes they made to standby, it's like there's really no reason to do standbys unless you're gonna move, right? And because of that, it's like the ready one keyword just needs to go and be replaced with something else. Precise two is cool, discipline's cool. Um, they shoot 2 whites in range 1 to 2, so they're pretty much shooting like a BX without the sharpshooter, and then they shoot 1 black. And in this game where a lot more things are throwing a lot more dice, I feel like that's horrible for a special forces unit. So I wish they would increase some dice on the Death Troopers. The surge to defend on red dice is amazing, and they also surge to hit, which is amazing. But because of their guns I don't think are that flashy for that point cost, like 72. I want to put them as C. What about you, Jose?
Hmm. D is for Death Trooper. I'm sorry, Edward. I have played this game for years, and there's no unit I like picking on more than Death Troopers because they don't have impervious. Um, the surge down is good, the surge up is good, the weapon config suppression is good, the free order from Krennic is good. All that is great, but when you start losing bodies, they get a little less scary, and all you got to do is throw a Pierce shot their way. Um, whenever I see Death Troopers, I zero in, and that's the first. I take whatever Pierce I got, I'm putting it right there, and I'm just eating the Death Troopers because unchallenged, they're gonna take out normal infantry. They're gonna take out. They're gonna throw up some pretty good fights with everything just because of their defensive keywords, their suppression and stuff. But like we all know how finicky black dice are, and if you have one less black dice, well, your pool's just hitting a lot worse. Um, so yeah, no, D's for Death Trooper. I really believe, truly believe, they could get rid of Ready and replace it with Impervious. Um, and like I said, I stand by. I don't think points changes is the way you fix the game. I don't think it's the way you fix units because even if they were reduced in points, I don't think people are still taking them.
If these guys were
Um,
30 points, you take them.
okay,
Oh,
but you're
oh,
living
for
in
sure.
fantasy land. You're taking your
Well,
fantasy.
that's
I
what I'm saying.
re
Points can
re
fix the problem, right?
no, but okay, yeah, but reasonably, points are gonna move 5 to 10.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not always true. Droidekas, when they first came out, were 100 points, and now they're only 60. That's a 40 point, drop right there.
But it's because they were being overshadowed by units
And
like
Death Troopers
stats.
aren't being overshadowed.
By units like what?
Sure. Honestly, Empire, I agree with you because Empire is going through
There's
like
a,
a
nothing.
identity
There's
crisis right
nothing.
now.
So I know we're rating this against the field, but even against the field, dude, like they're not. Mandos eat these guys for breakfast. Uh, Wookiees eat these guys for breakfast. Arcs eat these guys for
Well,
breakfast.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
You
they eat them
like
because there's 72 points. I think if they dropped, like, I mean, look at Scout Troopers. They're now only 48 points. And you've seen a lot more Scout Troopers, and we're gonna get to that in a moment. Again, a lot
they're
of these things,
never gonna hit that price range, dude. They're
I
never.
honestly think a lot of these things can be just fixed with the point cost. Like, just make it to where these boys are 60 points. People start looking at them.
D is for Death Trooper, sir.
All right, John, what you got?
So I would put them in B tier, but they're because of the points cost, because of yeah, they're just again, I think they're modeled for the old game. They really should have changed up some of their keywords. So I'm gonna have to put them at C. They still can hit hard, but you have to put upgrades into them. You have to take Krennic. You have to put more into your army to make them worth. So they would be B, but I'm putting them at C.
Okay. All right, we got some Scout Troopers, Jose. What do you think about Scout Troopers?
I haven't played them in the new version. I haven't seen them played against me. Like I haven't played against them in the new version. Um, I mean, they seem like they're just fleets, but in special forces. Um, I don't know, man. I, I, I would think there's ways to use them. I just off a lack of seeing them. There has to be something to it. I know AMG's pushing them hard with the new starter set. That makes me believe they're gonna have a change somewhere, maybe in November. But as of right now, I would just take them as a C unit. I think they're decent with their scout. Um, they can set up a position, and if you want to press them and you misgauge the range. Like those 8 black dice, yeah, they're black dice, but they 8 black dice hurt. And in Old Legion, I used to run them a lot with no sniper, just with the 4 guys and the black dice. I would put them in C tier in front of the Death Troopers.
What about you, John?
I'm indifferent. I've seen people use them. I've thought about using them myself when I play Empire. I think they're B tier. Just because they do have that scout, they do have that the black dice pool, kind of like arcs. Um, they the only downside is they are white save, but they do have low profile, which is nice. Sharpshooter's great with them as well. They if you need them to hit like a truck, you can. And they're pretty cheap, so you could slap an upgrade on them, and they're still like probably like Death Trooper or Arc numbers. So I'm gonna put them at B tier for that.
So I want to put these guys at C tier, and the reason why is because yeah, they're cheap. They hit pretty hard at range 2, which is kind of where the game's at right now. The problem is that they got white saves, so they die relatively fast, and then they don't like I don't know why they have an unarmed attack and a range attack when most of the special forces have their range 2 guns also could be used in melee. So it's
Mm,
like you want to be shooting
yeah,
at range 2, but if you're shooting at range 2, most of the other special forces that we're going to go over have charge, so that means they're just going to double move and charge into you. So like I wish these guys got charged, and I wish their weapons could be the guns specifically could be used in melee. Because once someone charges you,
yeah,
it's just like okay, now you reduce your offense output by 1. And I think they suffer. Like I was running at the last tournament a list of everything that had charge in it besides these guys, and I only had one. It's just like I feel bad of just like, oh, I could charge you, but I don't want to do that. I want to shoot you, and it's just, and they also don't have access to a lot of surges, which hurts them because they're throwing black, which is 50-50, and they don't surge for that, and it would suck if Clone Boys they get to share their surges where these guys don't. So I'm gonna go see with these guys. So there's 2-1.
yeah. I was gonna say I agree.
Put them in front of Death Troopers. I know you can move them in front of Death
Oh,
Troopers.
oh yeah.
uh, I feel like a lot of the things that we've talked about so far with special forces, especially for Empire, it just seems like they didn't update them for the new game. It's just like it's all old game tech.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I really think that the reason why is because they're just like, all right, Empire is a gun line. Like we want to keep their identity to be a gun line. Well, it's okay, that's fine, but you want people to move onto the POI, and
Yeah.
they literally don't have much in the way of moving onto the POI. I mean, everyone thought Riot Control Squad was going to be it, but Courage One, Riot Control Squad, that's
You take him with Vader. Calm down.
yeah, but still, that's a Vader tax right there.
I mean, just take the charge from them and put it on one of these special forces. Boom, there you go.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. These are scout troopers, right? They need to be charging in.
Yeah. They're
All right.
literally hiding behind trees. Like they're ready to charge. Like, come on.
All right, we're gonna move on to the scout strike team. I want to put scout strike team into D tier. I'm sure they got sharpshooter 1, sure they got scout 3 and low profile, which is all nice. But again, the sniper is rolling only 2 black, and you want these guys to be at range 5 because there's only 2 man in the squad. You don't want to get it picked off, especially with white saves. And rolling 2 blacks with the name still feels bad because you gotta get. They're still gonna have light cover. They still could use dodge. Oh no, they can't use dodge because of high velocity.
Yeah.
But
The cover
yeah,
save.
the cover save. I mean, it's not totally bad, but I don't know how many times I see people roll 2 black and blank, and then roll an aim and then blank again. You
Yeah.
know, it,
I've done it.
yeah.
I've done it.
I think
Especially on these guys.
I think they
Especially on
have
these guys.
the worst sniper in the game, which is cheaper, but yeah, because these strike teams you have to put a heavy option on them. You're not doing the saboteur, you're doing the sniping. So that's my first. My first D tier is going to be the strike team, scouts. John, what you got?
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to agree. I think D tier is where they're sitting. Like, yeah, they have a
Uh,
nice like high velocity. I think they have Pierce. I'm not sure,
They do.
but
Yep, they have
they
Pierce.
do.
yeah, but like the white save, the low profile, yeah, you get one off out of like what normally eight.
Mhm.
Like they're gonna die pretty quick, especially like that if you fail that cover save. So I'm gonna go with D tier.
What about you, John or Jose?
Um, F is for failure. I have been burned way too much by two black dice with aims to even want to put these guys on a table. And one thing we forgot to mention with these snipers is they're no longer able to backfill as filler. You have to pay your scout tax, and then you have to pay your sniper strike team tax. Yes, it doesn't count against your army building, but you're essentially adding 40 more points or more on a unit that's just God, it's awful. Um, but I'm the odd man out, but they definitely to me they're F for failure.
So yep, yep. So we got so just keep in mind, everybody, as we're counting along. This is Jose first F tier. So when we get to ARFs.
They belong in the ARF tier on the bottom.
All right, moving on. We
Oh
got
my
the
god.
Ewok Slingers. John, have you played any Ewok Slingers yet?
No, I've only played with them once, and I mean the bodies that you can get with these guys and throwing rocks, like uh, I'm I'm not really sure. I haven't really played against them enough, and I haven't really played them enough. So I'm gonna put them in C only for that reason.
Okay. All right, Jose.
I have battled these little furry demons. Uh, Fun note, the year we went to LVO before you went, John, my first opponent was running the Ewok Hotness at the time. I was running my Anakin Tried and True list, and I took this mofo to time and literally lost due to time.
Dang.
I didn't have enough time to grab his hostage and jump back. Um, and why I think that's so awesome is because he made top eight. So I
Wow.
literally took a top eight player playing Ewoks to the wire, which was awesome. They are hard to kill. They're annoying to kill. The bodies are wild. Inside of their faction, or even just taking them as plus ones in Rebels, they're just painstakingly annoying. And I believe you can put the scout card on them, right? The Forest Dwellers or whatever, to let them move up for a
I
free
don't.
move or something like that.
Let me let you know right now. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I know when we played, you hit when me and you played for fun, you bum rushed Bosk with them and they mulched Bosk.
Mhm.
Um, I've played them a lot, played against them a lot. I was excited to buy into them, but never did. But based off of the caliber of players that I've played using them, both in friendly events and competitive events, I'm putting them as an A tier unit.
What was
They're
yours?
flexible, beefy, they do all the right things, and even at the worst case scenario, you have to either waste time to chew them down or ignore them and get your ass whooped.
What did you say, John? T tier wise for these guys?
C. I said
C.
C.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually agreeing with Jose. I'm gonna put these guys in A tier. Because just like Jose had mentioned before, these guys are great, annoying, harassing pieces. You have six in the squad. They have low profile and unhindered. And they also are super cheap. They're 35 points, cheaper than B1s. They have independent surge, so if they don't get an order, they get a surge, which we just went over scout troopers. They suffer from not having surges. So that's six blacks with the surge, which is really good. And again, they're so cheap that you could just throw these guys out there and they're gonna have to be shot at least twice to kill the whole squad. So that's just wasting X on them. and they could just be harassment pieces, which I just love these guys. So that's my take, is that they're just so cheap that you should just take them because they're extra bodies. They get a surge. If you give them an order, they get an aim. They're just like little running around murder bears that you just can't ignore. Um,
They filled the role of the strike team filler for Rebels
yeah.
because you can take two of them and that's your back filler. That's your
Mhm.
2 act filler.
Yeah, they're super good. I do love them. I especially love them in the Battle Force, the Bright Tree, because you could just run three of these and then a bunch of running spear guys. It's just like, especially with Lugray, Lugray could feed them aims, and they could just strike and just hit really hard.
Yeah,
Um,
I think when I played them, I did that wrong.
yeah,
I
yeah,
had Lugray all the way on the other side of the map. So,
yeah. If you're running Bright Tree and Lugray and Slingers, you
uh,
want the Slingers and Lugray to be by each other at all times.
yeah. Oh man.
All right, moving on to the Wookiee Warriors. We're gonna go over the which one are these ones? Cause the Freedom Fighters. These guys are the ones that have the charge and duelists.
Okay.
Yeah, Indomitable and Scale. Jose, what do you feel about these guys?
Hmm. I have played Wookiees in both Rebels and Gar. Um, Man, the dice pools are so big now that Wookiees just get mulched. Before it was nice because it was four dice, 5 dice, old cover. If you lost a wound or lost a Wookiee, it was a good shot. But I feel like in this world where we're eating, you know, 8, 10, 12, 14 dice, those 3 HP wounds are not as stout as they used to be. On top of that, there's a downside for their battle shield now because their battle shield takes their speed down by 1, which makes it a bad for so many reasons, like scouting, speed 1 moves are no longer a thing with them, and it's not something you can change unless you activate them or launch them a certain way. So like if you're wanting to abuse the speed 1 move, you have to have them out of the battle shield formation. Um, and sometimes you need that battle shield, and so that you end up not being able to use certain speed 1 moves with them. I'm gonna put them in C, just because of the game that we're in right now. If they get into melee, they're a nightmare, but the chances of them getting into melee at even somewhat decent health makes them a very big liability. So I would put them in C and I would put them in front of the scout troopers.
Yeah, troopers. So I actually want to put these guys in B tier, and the reason why is because again, this game is all about being on the POI. These guys have charge, and they have indomitable, so they're not going to be suppressed as often. They have scale, so they can ignore difficult terrain, and they also have duelists. So if they manage to get an aim or a dodge, like that dodge and melee that just gives them immune to pierce is huge because they're going against a force user. You can also lock them down, but also taking an aim, giving you pierce. And what's nice is that you can use the aim to reroll the dice, and you also get the pierce. Same thing if you use a dodge to cancel a hit, you get the immune to melee pierce. And because of that reason, like I feel like these guys are great just to be up in your face and just hitting you. Not to mention, the shield Wookiee. But to go off what you said, Jose, was that these guys are often being targeted, and I think that's a wonderful thing because you want these guys to be targeted. Because if they're being targeted, that means the other things are not being targeted that can go and do more damage. And especially for 3 health apiece, that's 12. Oh, well, if we're not counting the extra guy, that's 9 health. So like these guys could definitely soak up damage. And I was playing Michael one time, and he ran into my fifth brother, and I killed most of the Wookiees before he ran into me, and there was just one Wookiee guy there, and he just held on to life against fifth brother. Now, granted, fifth brother's not
Fifth
that.
Brothers dice are trash, dude. Come
Sure, sure.
on.
Fifth brother doesn't hit as hard, but I mean, that's a testament alone of just like keeping someone there,
No.
right? So that's my take
No.
on the Charge Freedom Fighter Wookiee Warriors is that they're great at being in melee, they're great at charging, they're great at being cannon fodder. So my vote is B tier. What about you, John?
Yeah. So I'm gonna put them at B as well because um yes, they have the charge, they have the duelist, which is nice. They also surge to hit. Um and with the new area terrain rules, now they can really be hidden and still get into your lines. Um and you can get closer now with area terrain. It's harder to get them shot off the board. Um they also can still shoot at range too. So like you're not just sitting there like with a force user without saber throw and just running up and saying, "Well, I hope I can hit them." Like if need be, you can still shoot with them, but your main objective is to get in, dive in. And I feel like with the new change to area terrain, that really helps their kit out.
Makes sense. Moving on, we got the Wookiee Warriors Kashyyyk Resistance.
That's the
Uh,
clone one, right?
no, this is also the Rebel one. Rebel one. I also have them up for clones because I think based on the faction they're in determines their rank also. So we'll go over them
Mm.
in the clones as well. But yeah, the Kashyyyk Resistance, I want to put an F tier. Because they're okay. The Wookiee Warrior Freedom Fighters are 69 points. These guys are 72 points, and they do everything worse than the last guys. These guys are arguably meant to shoot, and they shoot two white. And there's only three guys in them, and if you don't give them an upgrade, which honestly you're probably giving them the bowcaster, but that's six whites, sharpshooter one. That's it. They get Indomitable and they get Scale, but they lose Charge, they lose Duelist. Like, I don't know why you would ever want to take these guys up in your special forces slot because they just shoot horribly. Sure, they have the health, but they just want to be shooting, and it's just like I arguably think they want to be in melee most of the time and running to that POI. This kind of discourages that and like shoot from afar. Sure, the Bowcaster Pierce one is really good, but man, I don't know. It's just there's a lot better options in Rebels to be firing at things than these guys. So that's my take. What about you, John?
um, After everything that you said, I do want to put them in F tier, but I do think that they are D, mainly because you can put them on a POI, a back POI. And if anyone comes in, they still have a melee profile, so they can still shoot, which is their main thing. They're not going to be piercing in melee, but that's still like 3 health model. So like if they're on a back point POI shooting at range 3 or 4, like that's still not bad. And then if anything gets in, you can still melee. But again, like there are way better options. So this is going to be D tier for me.
Okay, Jose, what you got?
D tier, but you're forgetting. I like playing them with the long gun.
Sure.
The long gun's 1 to 4, and that dice pool ends up going to 8, I believe, with suppressive keyword. And the suppressive in this game, if you play your cards right, if you're playing Bring Them to Heal, 2 Wookiee gun shots gets you that free 2 points. I think it is. And because it's range 4, you can position yourself in such a way, like on Close the Pocket, you can be on the outside pocket point and then harassing with suppression into the middle pocket point. And we know how valuable that middle pocket point. If you're gonna be harassing the center and gonna leave these Wookiees uncontested, not only am I scoring that VP, I'm making it objectively harder for you to try to contest and keep that point because the way suppression works, being checked all the time, 2 suppressive shots can really take out an act for scoring purposes. So I'm giving them a little bit more love than F. They are bad, they're terrible. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
put them in D, and they're that's just because of that gun.
Yeah, yeah. He's fine. I just think you never run these guys unless you're running the Wookiee Battle Force. Like that's it.
Yeah, I would put them in F if they didn't have a decent melee. Like if they were just shooting and that's all they did, they would be F tier for me.
Sure, sure. Moving on, we have the Mandalorian Resistance. Now, a couple things they changed to where Their gun now hits at melee, so it's melee to range two. They have the shields now that the Maldalorians have. Now they also have the shield. And what's funny is like I've always told people, the Rebel players in our local group, like they have nimble, which is huge. Because not only do they surge to defend, you give them nimble, and now you give them the shield, give them up close and personal. Like it's a great combo piece. I actually think these guys are a lot of fun, and their courage too. Well, I think all special forces are courage too. So I want to put these guys in B tier.
Hmm.
Because I just think they're so much fun if you could give them the right kit. They got jump to, and they have impervious. So yeah. What about you, Jose?
I am not going to be as gracious as you are. Um, I am putting them in D tier below the Mandalorians.
Mhm.
Just they they're in a faction where why pay for this 3-4 man unit that doesn't have charge, that doesn't, their shtick is speed 3, jump, when I can pay less and get, sleeper cell. Um, yes, they have shields, that's great. But when you want to be getting these guys 2 points, you want them in melee. So those shields mean nothing in melee. So you're paying attacks to try to help you get in, which then being speed 3, it should not be hard for you to get in. Them having jump should not make it hard for them to get in. Therefore, and I learned this with Mando with the Mandalorians because I used to be a big person for them, and I took those bad boys off. I'm like, I never needed these. And I feel like that's just there's better options in the faction. You don't need the shields. Nimble is nimble. Once again, my gripe with one dodge token, regardless if it comes back, is the pools we're facing. We've all been burned by Mandalorian saves. Hell, we've been burned
Yep.
by surging saves, period, whether they're red or not. And I think that if the you're taking them with the Biscad duelist, which puts them just with the duelist alone, you're paying 92 points. That's not even adding anything else onto them. And I think the upsetting thing about them is when AMG was like, "We're gonna show them love. Here's the shields," even though they should have charge from the duelist. That's my opinion. They should have charge on that duelist. I mean, you're paying you're paying 24 points for duelist. You're getting one mini and you're getting duelist. Woo. You can pay I think it's 4 points on a BX and get charged.
Mhm.
So I am putting them below Maldalorians, and that's just because um there's better things to play, and Maldalorians have their place inside of their faction, whereas you can look every other direction for special forces inside the rebels and have a better option.
You said D tier?
D tier.
Okay. All right, John, what you got?
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of in between B and C. Um, because they don't have charge. Um, but their versatility is really good, like being speed 3 and they have nimble, and then their kit you can give them. So I'm probably gonna say C tier just because like their kit is good, but again they don't have charge, so they can shoot melee. But if they had charge, that'd be a different story. So I'm gonna go with C.
Funny because we all disagree. I think I said B, and then John says C, Jose say D. So I'm willing to
Put
change mine to C.
put them in C. Put them in front of scouts.
Okay.
That's the difference. One high, one low. We'll meet in the middle.
All right, next we have Clan Ren. Jose, you had a strong opinion about Clan Ren. Let us hear it, my man.
I love Clan Ren. I've been a Clan Ren believer. Um, Ursa, um, Ursa, and what's his face? I'll find his name right
Tristan.
now. Ursa, yeah, Tristan. They're dope, dude. You get lethal one, you get suppressive. with Tristan, you get with Ursa, you get Dauntless, you get Long Shot. The dice pool is nice. With Ursa, you're getting one red, one black, one white. With Tristan, you're getting two black, so that's already five dice between two minis. Then you get the normal two from the regular guys. So you're throwing seven dice. You're banking on retinue from Sabine. And I think if you're playing them without Sabine, you're playing them wrong. Very flexible option, very disruptive option. Suppressive is nothing to sneeze at. If you want to squeeze the aim, you can get a long shot and extend the range. Um, the red rocket launchers are always a good take. Their survivability is up there. You got two wounds per model. Surge up, surge down, impervious, nimble. Like I said, retinue, jump two. It's just a big Mando kit. You're pretty much playing a six health hero with these guys. Um, and like I said, being backed up by Sabine, getting options for the retinue opens it up, and you know rushing them with Sabine because you're going to keep them in tandem opens up a lot of options. I would say if you're playing them with Sabine, I would put them as an A tier option. Um, but as their kit alone, like if you didn't play them with Sabine, I would put them in B. I do think that you should play them with Sabine because you're getting a free token. But even if you were a madman and decided to take them on their own, which is how I'll grade them for this, is they I think they're solid. I think they're below the Wookiees, but above the regular ISF. Or no, sorry, behind
Inferno.
Inferno. Sorry,
Inferno.
yeah.
Yeah, so I want to put them in B tier because again, they're just like the Mandos. They're pretty good, but they're two health and they have nimble. So you give them up close and personal. You're shooting at range two. You get a dodge, and like that's my thing is I've always hated going against the Sabine because of her survivability with surging to defend on red saves, let alone her shield. Then the dodges you got to chew through. Like that's exactly what these guys have with the retinue. They can automatically get a dodge from Sabine. Then they have the shields. Then you do up close and personal. You get another dodge. Then you got nimble giving you back a dodge. Like and then each of these guys have two health. They're taking a lot of shots and still surviving. I mean, you always get a bad roll. It's always a thing that just wipe them. But I feel like these guys could just soak up so much, firepower and still be standing. And then they get Dauntless, which is huge because if they're suppressed, you can obviously use Dauntless. So that's my take. I B tier for me. What about you, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think with them, they're definitely better than their counterpart, the Resistance. So I'm gonna put them in B. Um, I think I want to switch them with put them in front of the Wookiees though, because I think they're a little bit better than Bruno. And then they're definitely in contention with the Wookiees. But I think if you're gonna do Wookiees or them, I think you're gonna take them over Wookiees.
Really? What about you? Where do you want to put it at, Jose? As far as
I'm down to put them in front of Wookiees only because, like I said, the world we live in, well, here's my example, and I'm gonna go to this because I'm a big fan of this now. Is Echo Super Shotgun throwing 14 dice? Like, I don't care if you have nine wounds. I have 14 dice, aim, sharing. Like, I'm very confident to say that I would do that. Pool does substantial damage to those Wookiees just because of the white saves. Whereas with Clan Ren, they're more flexible in terms of bobbing and weaving and getting into places and things that the Wookiees can't. Let's not forget, scale has been atrociously shit on. So the viability of getting a Wookiee in against the Super Fives versus getting a Clan Ren into a Super Fives, like a survivability rate, like I would take them over the Wookiees, just in pure maneuverability.
I would arguably put them behind the Wookiees, but you guys numbered me because you can only take one, and that's the drawback of Inferno Squad and Clan Ren is that you can only take one, so you're limited. But again, they're a good harassing unit, and I think that's what you want from a special forces unit is one a high courage value, which all special forces have two, arguably, and then 2, higher health and survivability, which these guys definitely have. Um, moving on.
Uh,
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, I was putting it as a point like, if you're gonna be in the rebel faction, would you take these over Wookiees, like in the rebel faction? And that's why I put them ahead of the Wookiees because I feel like you're gonna take Clan Ren before you take a rebel Wookiee.
I think I would arguably take the Wookiees.
I
Uh,
think it determines if he takes Sabine or not. If
Yeah,
he
that's
takes
yeah,
Sabine,
true.
she's auto take. I
yeah,
think
Yeah,
if you're not taking Sabine, you're taking them and 2 Wookiees.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
that's
agree
true.
with that. Yeah.
Because the
Uh,
Wookiees overall are better than the regular Mandos anyways.
yeah.
Mm.
And Sabine, Clan Ren, and 2 Wookiees sounds like plenty of threatening beef.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. All right, moving on. We got the Rebel Commandos. Jose, what do you feel about these guys?
I'm putting them in C. Um, I really think they're just a super core. They have the 2 courage, they have the low profile. I think if you want to play 6 core, you pay your 3 rebel tax and you take three commandos. You got better dice, you got sharpshooter, you got surge, I believe it's surge hit they got.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They got surge hit, sharpshooter, low profile. They're gonna stick around longer, hopefully, in theory, longer than a standard core. Um, but once again, they have the problem of there's just rebels have so many options that fill all those roles that are better than them. Um, so I personally would put them in oh, it's gonna hurt me. I want to put them in C. I really do want to put them in C, but the lack of seeing them and I get it. I get why people don't. The kit's good enough, but lack of seeing them, there's a reason. Us being competitive, hell, even in casual, we rarely see them. Nick probably runs them. I don't even think Nick runs them. If Nick's not running them, then we have issues. So I feel comfortable with Darth Nicholas. Never seen full scouts. I'm gonna put them in D.
All right,
I
John, what
would
about
put
you? Oh, go ahead. Go
at
ahead.
the end of D. No, the end of D. I was
Oh,
trying to see what
oh,
we had there.
okay.
uh, I mean, I would probably put them at C tier. Um, if scouts are hit about a little bit harder, but they don't surge, and these guys do surge to defend, I feel like these guys will probably out survive a scout squad. Um, just with a sharpshooter. I mean, they have almost the same kit, but these guys surge, so I would say that these would be in C tier above the scouts.
Yeah, I want to give these guys. Oh man, it's so hard. I'm split between C and D. I think I want to put them in D though because like scouts, they want to be in range 2, right? Which is good because that's where the game is mostly played at. Where these guys, they want to be range 3, arguably 5 because of the sniper. But even if they're at range 3 with the sniper, that's pretty decent, and they surge to hit. So it's like 5 black and a white. Low profile is
Yeah.
nice. Scout 2, so you can get that shot
For
from
the
shooting
sniper,
somebody.
they have their snipers are red. It's four. It would be 4 black, a white, and a red.
No, no, their sniper is black and white.
No, their sniper, unless they changed
You're
it.
talking about the saboteur.
No, Rebel Commandos. We're gonna put on the sniper.
Okay.
Oh, they changed. It used to be a red and a white.
No, it's always been a black and a white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the reason why it's better than
Oh,
the
okay, yeah, you're right.
yeah, the reason why it's better than Empire is because it surges to hit. And yeah, these guys like it's not a bad sniper. It's pretty decent. So like shooting at range 3 is 5 blacks, 1 white, and that's high velocity, so they can't use their dodges and they surge to hit. I'm gonna put them in C. I think they're pretty good in C. And yeah, they're probably better than the scouts because they actually have they actually do surge to hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
So
actually do search.
yeah,
Do they
yeah.
do more
Yeah.
work than the? Do they do more work than the Mandos though?
Heck no.
Yeah, no, not in close quarters. Long quarters,
You don't want
probably.
these guys in close though. You want them taking advantage
Yeah,
of that pool.
well, that's
That's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying.
Mandos want to be in close quarters, and then Mandos also have impervious. So yeah. Um, moving on, we got the strike team. I want to put the strike team in C because it's not a bad, it's a decent sniper with the aim, right? And it's Pierce one high velocity. Definitely better than the Empire strike team. Um, so that's where I would have put this one. What about you, Jose?
D. I don't like these. I don't like strike. The only strike teams worth being even considered are Clone Wars strikes. For me, it's a hard D, and I don't even got to think twice about it.
All right, John. What about you?
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with D tier. I mean, yes, they do surge to hit, but they're just like the scouts, almost like they have low profile and white save. You fail your cover roll, they're probably dead.
Like,
Yeah,
like, you overextend them wrong, and one coordinated bombardment, one airstrike, one like they're just gone. And we've seen it's hard to say that that doesn't happen, but we've seen plenty of times where, oh, I thought I couldn't be seen. Yeah, buddy, well, you can be seen.
Yeah, yep. I could see that little corner of the silhouette. I could see
Yeah, the
him.
silhouette screwed you, not your mini, the silhouette.
yeah. All right. Moving on to sleeper cells. I think we know where this is going. You guys can argue against
F.
me. They're going to
Fucking
S tier.
overpowered.
They're S tier, baby.
Whoa!
They're
Let's.
so good.
Oh,
Just
Whoa!
to the
yeah.
audience, they have nimble, they have scout 2, they have tactical 1, they shoot 2 black, and there's 6 of them in the squad. And they surge up and down, white defense, speed 2, and they have a robot that if they're in range 1 of a POI, they get a dodge. And on top of
And the
nimble.
big and the bigger point, they can be taken in a faction with 20 acts, so you're not
Yeah.
lasting them.
They're only
And
70
and
points for all that.
yeah, and don't forget the last tournament I faced Grayson and he one shot Ventress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 14 black dice is no joke if you do it that way.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
yeah. So definitely that's our first S tier. I don't even
No
think we
discussion.
yeah, no discussion needed, hands down.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the Wookiee Freedom Fighters in Gar. Honestly, I think I changed my mind. I thought they would be in a different position, even though they're in Gar, but I still think they're a decent option in Gar. So I want to put it in B. What about you guys? This is the one with Charge and
Uh,
Duelist.
yeah, I'm putting them in C only because it like you're taking arcs because arcs exist. These guys cannot. So like if John rolls up, he's like, I'm like, hey, what are you playing? He's like, oh, I'm playing Gar, cool. And he puts down Wookiees. I feel a lot better than if he puts down arcs.
But this isn't the ARC show, right? This is
It doesn't matter. It's in
this is
class, dude.
sure.
What? Be
I
honest. Be honest. Are you more terrified? Are you more
well, yes,
terrified
but
if
we
somebody?
we didn't rank any of the other ones based off of another unit. Like we didn't base all the rebel special forces because of sleeper cell existing, right? Because then all those other ones would have been F tier too.
No, no, they're where they belong. They're underneath the sleeper
Uh,
cell. They're underneath the sleeper cell. That's where they belong.
That's
Because that sleeper cells, because sleeper cell's so good, you're gonna take three of them over everything else under them.
okay. John,
oh
what do
my
you got?
god.
What do you got, my man, for the Gar
Uh,
Wookiees?
I'm gonna put them at B, same spot as the Rebel ones again. With the changes to area train, you can still get them in. They're harder to shoot now with area train.
And you know what's more important is that there's a Gar battle force of just Wookiees. You can literally run 9 special forces Wookiees, and that sounds like a lot of fun. In fact, Jose, you're working on painting some werewolves for me to be my Wookiees that I can't wait to put as a battle force because that's going to be a lot of fun of just like, yeah, I got 12, I got 9 acts of 12 wounds. Good luck,
Yeah.
you know? Uh,
It, and if you lose a mini, they move once.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like they get closer if they lose one.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, Same thing for me. This is also the Wookiee shooter guys, the Kashyyyk Resistance. I think they're. I want to put them in F tier. You guys outvoted me last time. You guys doing that the same
Yeah,
here? Yeah.
I'm not putting them in F.
Okay. What about
Yeah, I'm
you?
gonna put them in D.
Here's
They're
here,
they're about the same.
here's why I'm not putting them in F because they are with the long gun, they're fun as hell to use with Rex Scouting Party. That's just turn ones, they get scout two, and then they're just going to town with that gun, that suppressive gun, which can stifle you coming in.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
my same thing as I said about the rebel ones is you can harass from afar, and then if they're on a point, they still have a melee profile that they can still hit pretty hard.
Mm.
Um, Especially if you have four of them, that's still a lot of dice in melee. Yeah, they don't have duelists or anything, but again, that's why they're in D tier. But that keeps them out of F is that melee profile in case you need to have them hit on a POI.
Moving on. I don't think we need to do much discussion. Arcs are definitely S tier. I mean, for 64 parts, 64 points, you get charge, impervious, scale, scout two, sharpshooter one, tactical one, and they roll 2 blacks per model.
And you
Like,
get to put a medic in them.
yeah, you could put them. You don't even. I think you could
I'm
take these
putting
boys
I'm
naked
putting
and
them
they're just
above.
fine.
No,
Well,
so the question is, are they in front of sleeper cell?
yes,
Yeah, yeah, because
Okay.
they're cheaper than sleeper cell.
yep,
You could technically run 4 in
yep,
501st. They are red saves unlike Supercell,
yep,
and they have
Token sharing.
token sharing. Yep, that you hit on nail on the spot, Jose. Token sharing.
yep.
That's it.
And and you can put a Jedi in there,
Yeah,
No, you're
yeah.
taking the medic.
I don't know, man. Jedi with Pierce, like that seems pretty solid.
especially
I medic.
Ahsoka. You could put Ahsoka in there with block.
Yep, yep. Like, oh man, arcs.
Yeah,
No, I'm off that. You want Ahsoka to get the independent dodge and you want orders on your arcs. If you don't
Sure.
put orders on your arcs, you're just leaving that to chance.
Or I like when I played a game against Daniel. Daniel made a 501st list where he reverse ordered it. You give orders to your units that are not special forces, and I think he had like 7 special forces in the bag. It's like that's not bad because then you're always drawing the special forces.
yeah. I'm
That
just
sounds like a
saying
Daniel
in
thing.
in comparative to uh like Joker versus Batman, I think that Batman is the sleeper cell. With the new upgrades that Arcs just got, I think they're way more like crazier than Sleeper Cell.
Yeah. So you're
With the
saying,
Jedi's and everything that you can put on Arcs, including medics, like they're just it's crazier than Sleeper Cell.
The only thing in this that makes it hard for me, like, to agree is once again, you're backloading with 20, 18, 16 acts. So those sleeper cells are gonna come out way after the arcs. And I think with these two, it comes down to who hits first. Red dice are good, but if you get demolished by Ames and Sleeper Cell coming in, it's the arcs can fall. But I don't know. I guess it just comes into who strikes first. I think both of them are highly able to handle each other on that first shot. I don't know. I like arcs in front just because I like Gar. And I hate Sleeper Cell. But I think there's a conversation to be had about lethality because they can fit in, like I said, 16, 17, 18, 20 act lists where Gar can't.
well,
Gar can't make that happen.
I do agree with you. It's gonna matter who hits first, but I feel like arcs have the advantage because they got the tactical one with charge, so they're rolling the same amount of dice they would at range 2, whereas sleeper cell offensive gets significantly worse when they're in melee because they're rolling a black and a white instead of 2 red, or sorry, 2 blacks. Um, Granted, there's a lot more bodies to take out, but again, arcs are generally red saves that are surging or can share tokens, from clone
Yeah.
infantry, which is huge. So yeah, that's just my take why I think arc is ahead of Supercell. But moving on, we got arc strike teams. I want to put these in A. because tactical one scout, and you get the tactical one off the scout. They shoot a red and a black in sniper, which
Should have got
the,
critical one back.
no, because then you get arguably three aims on turn one. You could spend one to make it pierce, and then you could just roll and share tokens. Again, just share tokens. Why not? So that's my take. Is I want to put them in A. What about you guys?
Hmm.
I, I'm
Hmm.
I'm no I'm okay with them being a. Like I said, I think they're slightly better than the rest of the snipers. But it's a red save unit. And at worst case scenario, you're a token generation battery, which isn't a bad thing. That actually gives you value. So I would place them at a just off of red save, token generation, and the red black. And it's not hard to get aims for them whether they're taking it tactical or sharing it. And even if you get the lucky shot where you come in, you hit your shot, um, you know, you spend the aim for the Pierce, and then you're just chilling, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with them at A.
What
I
about
would
you?
put them at last in A though, because Magnas would be better than them, and Ewoks would just be better than them. So
Yeah.
A for sure at the back end.
Yeah,
What about you, John?
I want to say B, but yeah, we can put them in A.
It's just they're so good. Especially sharpshooter and all that. Okay, the grand finale. We're starting off Jose because you know where Jose wants to put him. Let's see if Jose can humble himself right now.
Uh,
Jose, where would you put the ARF troopers?
Oh man, if this was Gar only, F if they were Gar only, F if they were Gar only. But you specifically weaseled your way to not make them an F tier unit. That's why you put other units here. I just based on their kit and what they provide and what they do and their drawbacks, I am going to put them in C tier. I'm going to put them last place
Okay. Uh,
because they're obviously better than everything in D tier. That's not even a question.
yeah.
The problem is they occupy a slot where everything's better.
Mm.
And then even if you want to try to say, hey, well, they can fit because of X, no, because even if they were to be moved, say they were special, say they were support, you're still taking commandos over them. Um, Gar lives and dies by tokens, dude. They don't generate their own tokens. They do have the half aim keyword. I slipping my mind right now. What is it? Let me pull it up real quick. They have Republic, Special Forces.
The
They
Observe too?
have
Is that what you're talking
Observe.
about? Yeah, Observe too.
Yeah, Observe would make more sense if it was for them range 4, because you want them at 4.
Mm.
Their dice aren't thrilling. Um, Low profile is okay. Once again, my heart my gripe is we live in a game where low profile doesn't have the value it used to. um Scout 1 is, I hate the fact they have Scout 1 because they have a rocket launcher and you're not going to get to shoot it off Scout 1. You can do Garrison and deploy them that way and be able to use it, but to me that's a stretch.
Now Garrison's only for
um
core options.
oh, is it only for core?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's only
then
for
never
core.
mind. Well, even if it wasn't, um and I you originally, in my opinion, you were buying ARF Trooper boxes to put a Jedi and everything else and leave them in the box. Because they have put medics in leader positions now, I think that it further makes this box not as wanted or flashy as it should be. I think they missed with this. I honestly do. Like I said, why would I pay for Why would I pay 66 points for a unit that doesn't generate tokens when I can pay 64 for tactical? I can pay 56 for surge for reliable. I can pay 90 for Catan armor and independent. I can pay like it was nice thought. I would say to make these guys viable, they would have had to have been a core option. But to be honest, dude, and now looking at this list, Mandos do better things than they do for what they provide in their faction. The BX strike teams would eat these guys alive. Inferno, once again, flexible option. The Beskar duelist, Rebel Mandos, once again, a better option. Um, going down the list, I mean, you can make an argument to put them in front of scouts just because of the red saves. But once again, it's C and it's not even a close comparison because everything else above them is there for a reason.
Okay. All right. John, what about you?
Um, I'm kind of torn a little bit. I feel like I'm gonna say low B, maybe high C. Because yeah, the arcs are always gonna outshine them. Um, but I feel like Wookiees again are gonna be better than them because of the charge, because you can get in. But they do have merit to play on that range 4. They do have low profile. They have token sharing. So even if they're not generating tokens, you can put other things in there that can generate. Um, I think that they're definitely going to be low B, maybe mid C, maybe high C for me.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and so here's the problem. AMG has given you guys crack, and that is the arcs. This gave you guys crack. You guys sifted up. You're like, oh man, this is the best drug ever. And then they come out with ARFs, which is pretty much weed. And you're just like, oh, weed's trash. Weed's, get
Weed
out of
can be
here.
fun.
I agree. I agree. We could be great. But because you're on crack, you're just like, nah, man, weed's trash. You know what I mean? So, because
I mean,
these
it depends on the night what you're having. Like,
no, man. You
are
guys
you
are
at a
addicts,
party
man.
or are you on your own?
You
Like, if
guys
you're at
are
a
addicts.
party, it could be both. You never know.
I honestly am putting these guys in B tier because
Lame. No.
again,
You're so
they're
wrong.
they're okay for again, they're 66 points. I know Arcs again is the crack. Is only
Yep.
64 points, but for 66 points, that's not a bad price tag for what
Yep.
Gar can do. It's got
Yep.
red saves. It can token share. It's
Yep.
got an observe 2, so your army could complement that. It
Yep.
shoots at range 4. Now, we already
Yep.
discussed that this game is not a gun line anymore, but I mean, still, having the option of being range 4 is still a solid choice. It's got low profile, unhindered, and scout 1, which I think is huge.
So you're gonna pay 66 points to waste an action to get a token to be able to share that token, or you're gonna pay a token tax to put tactical or something on them so they're not true 66 points. And let's be realistic. When you're taking these guys, the
Mhm.
upgrade you're putting on them is not the Jedi. The upgrade you're putting on them is the two-man squad. Where is it at? Which is going to be personnel, which at minimum puts them at 92 points. And all you're doing is adding two minis. You still got to burn an action to take a dodge or an aim, which the other options in the army don't. You just get tokens. And if you want to generate tokens, you're adding emergency transponder, which is a 4 point tax. You're looking at if you want to add tactical to get them an aim, you're adding another 6 point tax. So with the two-man squad, your options to generate tokens and now makes them 102 points.
So again, this is why I'm comparing crack to weed, is because ARGs can generate tokens just for doing other actions, and then specifically in this case, moving, right?
Yeah.
Which is what most people would want is the aim. But ARFs have a special rule in that they are range 4 option. You're right. You can put the two guys in it, making it range, sorry, 6 black at range 4. And then what's also unique about this is the very first red save low profile unit. Like
Mm.
their survivability is very high.
Uh,
Again, I don't think you want these guys getting close. That's why arcs are far better because they want to be super close. But these guys
yeah.
can sit on a POI and shoot from very far. Um,
Exactly.
so, and then also this gives us the very first Jedi upgrade, which I just think that's fun.
You're
But,
biased.
but I mean, okay, compare the ARFs to, are they better than the Mandalorians?
No,
Are they better than the BX Strike Team?
Nope.
no.
Oh, are they better than Imperial Special Forces?
Oh, that's a
That
hell no.
that
That's
I
Ha-
would say that's to be determined because, like I
a
said, we
hell
haven't.
no.
Are they
That's a
better
hell
than
no.
the Mandalorian Resistance?
Uh,
No.
Are they
no.
better than the Commandos?
The what?
No.
The Rebel
Oh, the regular.
Commandos?
Yes, they are better than the Commandos. I
Are
would
they
take that.
are they better than the Scout Troopers?
Yes.
Are they better than
Yeah.
Imperial Death Forces? Special
Yes.
that's yeah, Death Forces.
No, actually, it's almost the same.
But see, here's the thing, and this
It's
is
almost the
why
same because if you put them to get side by side, they don't have low profile, but they surge to defense. They don't have they do have range 4, but it's a config. But they have suppressive where these guys don't. You're for the same point cost, you're getting a somewhat beefier unit along with a commander that can give them a free order and auto remove suppression. So I say they're close to Death Troopers, which makes the comparison even
well
worse.
we'll see. Here's the thing though, is that the why again, Guard in itself is on crack because
Yeah.
you get to share tokens. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about here? Your argument for why ARPs aren't that great is because they don't generate tokens for doing a different action, whereas every other faction doesn't have that. Well, they
Yeah.
generate their own tokens for themselves, and nobody else gets to use them aside from exemplar and some other keywords. Like that's why I think Gar. That's why
But
I think this is
even
B tier is because the fact that you could share a surge or
Uh-huh.
share a aim or share a dodge, like that's
But
huge.
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing to lock up your token conversation is Mandalorians generate tokens from not having orders. BXs they don't generate tokens. ISF Inferno not Inferno the regular ISF you normally take them with offensive push so they have their tokens. The
But
Beskad duel the
like
Beskad No, well,
aside
there's token
aside from
generation
but
in
but
C
that's
that
the
are not
argument.
Gar.
That's the argument, right? The Mandalorians are the only exception because they have independent, right? And that's because of Shadow Collective.
But
Um,
even if you pay
you
to
you
take
you don't have to
upgrades, you're
pay
still
you don't have to
cheaper.
pay any tax for a Gar unit to share a token.
Yeah. I honestly feel like
But what I'm saying is there's
it's
units in C tier that can gain access to tokens that are way better options than these guys because they have the room to put stuff on them and still be cheaper and still generate tokens that aren't in Gar.
But they can't share them.
You don't need that's fine. You're
So
if you're
the
gonna die on
same
the hill of if you're gonna
this
die on the hill of sharing, that's fine. But once again, you're still having to take an action to generate something to share out or pay a tax in terms of 5 to 9 points to generate tokens to share,
you can
which
also
puts
add that tax onto clone to get the same token you're talking about. But guess what? You get to share that token. So it's like it's an it's a good versatile thing, and that's what most great units in any type of game are great at. Is if
but
they
you
have the
keep bringing
ability,
up
if they have a lot of options, a lot of versatile, that makes it a great unit by
but
default.
here's the thing. You're saying but clones, but clones, but clones, but clones. We had a chance to have that conversation.
Sure.
We're not. We're having the field, and as of right now, me and John agreed that they're not better than Mandalorians, they're not better than BXs, they're not better than Inferno, they're not better or ISF. They're not they're maybe neck and neck with Rebel Mandos. We
Well,
know ISF is better than them.
to
We
be
know Wookiees are
honest,
better than them.
to,
So
to,
obviously
to be
it's
honest,
gonna
this
drop
this
them into
all
the C
relies
tier.
on John because
Uh,
John said B and
They are the
C.
death troopers of Gar. They are
So
the death
so
troopers of
John
Gar.
has to decide because me and Jose are firm. I say B, Jose say C. So John, you have to be the deciding factor here.
so I mean, I
You
did say
won't
low
you won't
B.
hurt you won't hurt my feelings, but you're gonna have to move out. I'm sorry. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
jeez.
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
God.
I'm
Well,
just
They're the
kidding.
death troopers of Gar, bro. That's all they are.
Go ahead,
I
John.
I think I
Whatever.
think so. Personally, I think they're low B. Um, they could be questionably high C, maybe somewhere in between. Um, like ISF probably. They're definitely a good unit. Um, I mean, if you take out the token sharing, like yeah, they're probably about a death trooper. But the low profile, the red save, you can give them stuff like the duo stuff, make them hit a little harder. Uh, I think they're low B, high C.
If it makes if it makes okay, you gotta
You
pick one
can't
though.
say that you
Yeah.
can't say so my argument is
Mhm.
I'm not and you've heard JR's. My argument is you can't tell me that they're low B high C, but then when you go into C, they're better than half of C, but they're not better than the lowest thing in B. So that has to put them in C.
So you gotta pick one, John.
Mm,
I'm gonna force your hand here. You gotta pick B or C.
I think I'm gonna go high C.
All right, we're gonna put him in C.
I think they're at the front of C.
The front of
What?
C. Okay.
Blasphemous.
I mean, it makes
Hey,
sense
you
because
guys
they shared tokens.
you made me take a decision, so they're at high C. All right.
So,
He's like, I want agency.
all right. Well, at least they're not F, right? That what my
No, they're
argument was.
definitely not F. I
But
think honestly, once the arcs get the nerf hammer, I think you're gonna see arcs
No.
come out.
yeah, they probably are gonna get the hammer. Who knows?
Yeah.
We need
AMG's biased against
Rob.
Gar.
Rob, do me a favor. I know you're going to listen to the podcast. Go on to Longshanks and pull up the tournament data for units taken and tell me what the tournament data is for ARPS.
Whoa, you gotta give it time. Arcs just came out, so I don't think you're gonna see a whole lot right now.
Yeah,
But
and
again, you're still right, Jose. You're still 100% right. Like, arcs are not going to be taken because
How
of
do you
arcs.
and here's the thing, how do you nerf ARFs or how do you nerf ARCs to the point where you're gonna take you're gonna want to take ARFs.
Two.
And the reason I say this is because if you nerf ARCs,
Mhm.
all you're gonna do is force guard players to play commandos. That's it.
no,
Two ways I would do it.
no, it's five. I think 5 point swing is what it's gonna take.
I, two ways. Here's how you do it. One, you increase their cost, right?
Yeah, by 5 points.
Or two, you remove a black die from their range weapon.
No, I think you increase them by five
That's
points.
so.
You have so many options to
Gar
save
has
those
so
points, though.
many so many high cost units. You increase them by 5, you're gonna see maybe one arc squad.
No, you'll just find the 15 points to cut.
Nah, I don't think so. Like
Yeah.
I with
What's more
with
valuable, an arc or one medic? Arc or two medics?
well, yeah, but
Like,
you put a medic on there. That's now if you go up 5, that's what 70. What are they?
but
75?
the thing is, if you increase them, all you do is go revert back to taking no medics for arcs. Right now, the rage is we're gonna put medics in arcs. You raise them by 5, all you do is you don't do the medics anymore.
It's
Like
just a.
JR has seen this. We've seen it with Rexstar. What happened when they killed Rexstar? What did Gar players do? Shift around points, and now we have Arcstar. What happens when they hammered Arcstar? they shift around points and they found something else. What happens when they nerfed Gar again? Well, they shifted to 501st, they moved some things around, and now the 501st is the beast. Same thing with Blizzard. When Blizzard was at the top, we nerfed these points. Okay, we'll remove some stuff. We're still running Blizzard. Like it's scary to think that Gar is in a spot where players are will Gar's so good, and I'm saying this as a Gar player. Gar's so good, you're willing to make points adjustments. I did it with like I didn't play 501st.
You want to
I
know
didn't
why?
I
'Cause
mean
token sharing.
my points when Gar got nerfed and hit massive points cuts or points increases, all I did was kick out three phase twos
Oh
and
We
then
my
put three
god.
pikes.
we would
You
be
get what I'm
having
saying?
we would be having a whole different topic or a whole different conversation if we got rid of token sharing.
Yeah, which
This
they're not
man.
going to. You get
They're
rid of
not
No,
token
going to.
sharing, you
that
might
is
as well get
Gar's
rid of coordinate. Unmute
Gar's
once.
identity. It's like
Yeah.
token sharing. Like that's just what makes all Gar units good, in my opinion. Like
So
the units that are bad in Gar are the ones that don't share the tokens. So
so
just my take.
I was gonna say my one quick thing that JR told me. He's like, uh, if the clone commandos go up, you're still gonna take them. And I said, nah, you're wrong. I will never take any clone commandos. Guess what? They went up in points. I'm still taking one. I'm not taking three like I was. So like, even if they go up a little bit, like I'm still gonna take
Arc,
an arc, but I'm not gonna take like three arcs that I can do
but
now.
my thing is, are commandos better than ARF troopers?
Yes.
Okay, so if they outpoint you into not taking, say they bring arcs up to 100 points, they're not gonna, but say they did,
Mhm.
you would just replace the arcs with the cheaper 90 point commandos.
So I
Like
here's
I
where I
don't
think you're wrong, and the
I
reason
don't
why.
think they're going 90.
Well, here's where I think you're wrong. Is I think let's say they raise the points or however many nerfs and people stop taking arcs, right? You still take arcs because they're still a cheaper option, right? They're 66 points as
Yeah,
opposed to 90 for commandos. Don't get me wrong, commandos are still really good and better than arcs, but arcs are now the cheaper option, which is why you see a lot of arcs. It's because they're so cheap. If you
yeah.
raise their price,
well,
there's a consideration there now.
I'll make this point right now, and we can you can hold me to this later. But when we get the abomination, the utter filth, the garbage that is going to be the clone marksman, then ARFs will be better than something. You took my DC 15, put it in a shittier format, and like here you go. I'd rather play low profile range 4 at that point.
All right, boy, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
This is our special force, the Legion Last Special Forces tier list. I'm pretty happy with it, guys. How about you guys?
Yeah.
So solidified that ARFs are not great. I would go along to say that anybody who sat here with us listening to these buffoons in your ear on your way to work, on your way to chill. We know Dallin listens.
Okay,
We know
hold
all the
on.
boys listen.
I gotta,
You gotta get in the
I,
comments. You gotta get in the comments and tell us how wrong JR is and that ARFs are in fact F tier.
I,
They're not F tier.
I will take a bet with you, Jose.
No bets. I'm not
Oh.
no.
Oh, what
Oh, come on.
No.
All
No.
right, all right,
You
all
don't
right,
want
all right,
him to
boys.
make your Star Wars Unlimited deck for your next tournament?
Yeah.
No, I have no, I'm good.
All right. Before we wrap this up,
Uh,
Jose, you got some rule questions for us?
Yeah, some quick rules questions. Uh, let's pull them up. Oh, it's my screenshots. Boom. All right, so the last one, I believe JR ruined it because I had to tell him, I had to spill the beans because he wasn't gonna wait a week for rules questions to hear it. So we're gonna go in. So this one is incognito and destroy the enemy base. Um, This is by Dandy. He says, "Hello. Can a unit with incognito begin with a bomb asset and keep incognito? It only says that I can't contest objectives, so I assume holding an asset is still valid to keep incognito."
Now, That's
Ugh.
interesting because in the old rules, I haven't checked the new rules, if you're given a token, you lose incognito. And so I want to say if you're given an asset token, you lose incognito. What about you, John?
Ugh. Trying to think. Like, I think so because I think I'm not sure. Again, at LVO, I had Maul's probe droids take a bomb token, but I can't remember if they still had incognito or not. So I'm gonna say you cannot have it.
You can't have the token, or you can't have
Yeah,
incognito.
yeah. If you have the
Okay.
token, you can't have incognito.
All right. What is it?
So Seth just wrote a unit with incognito may be nominated to hold the bomb asset token when playing Destroy the Enemy Base. Being eligible to contest an objective is not one of the prerequisites to be nominated by that secondary objective card. So you can.
Hmm.
And still have incognito?
That's what it sounds like. He put exclamation mark. It made it very
That
clear that secondary objective.
that's crazy.
Oh, that is big. Yeah,
Oh my God.
that is big. That is huge.
You just do the
That's
John Cena
crazy.
while you're
Yeah,
running with the
yeah,
bomb.
yeah,
You can't see me.
yeah,
Yeah, holding the bomb with one hand, just
yeah.
waving. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't be shocked. I mean, if I read, I'll read it again. If any of our listeners say that we don't know how to English, Rob, let us know. But the response was a unit with incognito may be nominated to hold the bomb asset token when playing Destroy the Enemy Base. Being eligible to contest an objective is not one of the prerequisites to be nominated for that secondary objective card.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild.
sounds yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, New Legion, we shouldn't be shocked.
yeah.
Um, Next one is one step ahead and cunning. This is a question that has racked our brains. Edward has even wondered.
Hmm.
Let's see what it does. So, Derek TR95 says, "Hello, I was wondering how one step ahead works against a unit with cunning. Example, I play Lando's one pip versus Krennic's one pip. What exactly is the interaction for timing here?"
He plays Lando's one pip and Krennic's one pip.
And Krennic has cunning.
Well, for
Yeah,
one
one
step ahead, one one step ahead with proc, and
But in
then
the timing phase, like that's what he's asking.
for the one step ahead.
Yeah, he says wondering one step ahead works against a unit with cunning. If I play Lando's one pip versus Krennic's one pip, what
Well,
exactly is
I'm
the
confused
interaction and timing?
because all Krennic one pip is put tokens on his card, and
He has cunning though. He's
that
asking
just
if that changes anything.
he goes first in the activation phase.
yeah.
Whereas one step ahead procs after the pips are revealed outside of the activation phase. So I'm gonna go with one step ahead will go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that too because it if I remember one step ahead, that's if the pips match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then yeah, I'm gonna say the same and say like it procs just based off when the pips match.
Seth says one step ahead keyword is applied before resolving command card effects. This would be before proceeding with step two of the command phase, resolve the command cards. So a
Hmm.
question I had is, the cards that say this card is blob two pip for list building purposes.
Hmm.
Does that affect the one step ahead? Like if I play a one
No,
pip that is a two pip, like does that
no,
factor into anything?
no, because the
It's just for list building,
it's just for
correct?
list building. So you play the pip that's on the card when you play it.
But it
Whatever it
takes
says
the
in the
slot.
text, yeah, it just takes up the slot for list building. Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Like Ahsoka's four pip for list building, it's a two pip, but like when you play it, it's still a four pip.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's more to it. I missed the slide. So let's go again. Seth says one step back keyword is applied before resolving command card effects. This would B, before proceeding with step 2 of the command phase, resolve command cards. The cunning keyword is applied when determining priority, which done during step 3 of the command. It's crazy that there's phases in command cards. It's not as simple as I remember it being. He says, Lando Calrissian may use one step ahead before resolving command card effects as the pips on both played command cards match. After both players resolve all their command card effects, Director Orson Krennic will then use Cunning to treat his command card as having one fewer pip. So that was the hang up.
Mm.
So if Cunning treats it as one fewer pip, then technically are they matching? But because of the timing, Lando's one
Wait,
step
wait.
would have
Cunning cheats as one fewer pips.
yes. So Director Krennic will use Cunning to treat his command card as having one fewer pip.
I mean, I
Oh,
So
guess that's
that's
just
the
the wording to,
that's
yeah.
the interaction is like if we both play one, well Cunning makes Orson's card one fewer, which would make it zero. But the one step ahead applies before the cunning does. So technically, they're still playing one pips, even the Orsons would now make his a zero.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to give the priority to the cunning player. I think it's just the way the wording is. It's just wording it so that you can understand it.
okay. Yeah, that makes more sense now that you said that because I,
Yeah, I'm sorry about
yeah,
that.
no,
My
you're good.
bad.
You're good. You're good. I honestly, that taught me something. I always just thought that kind of gave you the priority, but you're right. It
No.
says one fewer pips. So yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So
I still think they should change that wording because if you're treating it as one fewer pip, it technically is a zero, but now you're adding timing into the plane of the command cards.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's technically a zero based on how it's written, then technically it shouldn't proc the thing, but because command so here's the thing. This was new to me. Every time it's like select a command card. Cool. John plays this is where the fun begins and uh I play Dooku's 2 pip or whatever. I'm not thinking there's phases to the command cards. I'm thinking we play boom, this is what we do. You get what I'm saying? I know and there's a layer to it of if he plays a 3 pip and I play a 2 pip, I get to issue my orders first before he issues his orders. That's as far as I thought it went. I didn't know there was like reveal your command card. Now this happens before this chain of events. Now you play the command cards as is. Like I didn't know that existed. That opens it up for me a little bit more when thinking about command cards versus just throwing them out now. But like I said, the wording kind of sucks because if Krennic's treating it as one fewer should be one fewer, but for some odd reason it doesn't do one fewer until Lando's goes off. Like that's weird to me. But makes
Well,
sense. There's more to command cards than I thought, so I learned something new on that anyways.
I was gonna say, doesn't cunning only come into play when you tie,
yeah,
technically?
yeah.
Yes, but it's still
Yeah.
making you one count one less, not just it
Yeah.
would so if the wording on cunning was uh opponent cunning was like opponent with cunning gets priority, that clears this whole situation up.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter that they're 1 pips. I get to go first, but because it says it treats it as one fewer, now it's like okay, well technically it's a zero. I get where he's coming from. I just don't like the answer because of the way Cunning's described, and
Right.
now there's phases. Like we
Sure.
have phases for everything. But no,
Yeah.
that's good to know. So just remember, people, Lando will still clap your cheeks if you guys tie on a 1 pip. What is the what when he wins on the 1 pip? What does it move? The trooper or him?
I think it's a trooper. When they tie, he gets to move somebody else. When it's not a tie, he gets to move himself.
Oh yeah, so that's terrifying because I'm gonna move these sleeper cell over here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You go first. You got to answer it now, buddy. Um, all right. So next one is I'm still not proficient in Dauntless. I always forget I have it. So this came off as kind of cool. This is by G Baker. He says, "Can you withdraw from an engagement when using the Dauntless ability? Can you withdraw using Dauntless?"
Mm,
I'm gonna say yes because I think you can guidance out with it if I heard right.
I want to say yes as well because I want it to be yes.
So Seth says. From the withdraw entry, an engaged unit may withdraw using its activation to leave melee. To withdraw, a unit must make a move action. Dauntless provides a free move action at the beginning of a unit makes action step. Yes, naturally the unit will set its speed to 1 during the move action as appropriate for a withdrawal. The same would be true with compel. So you can compel out of a melee as well.
Yeah, with
I don't like it because withdrawals withdraw, compels compel, dauntless is dauntless. Now you can use compel and dauntless to if so fat so do a withdrawal.
So
It's
would
like
guidance work then too?
he didn't mention guidance. I don't know.
Because guidance is a free
Is
move
guidance
action.
I
is it
think you
move
could do guidance as
if
well.
it's move action, yes. I
Yeah,
would say
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I'm safe in melee. No, you're not.
Not anymore.
All right, so this one, JR spoiled it. Because I know he wasn't gonna let me just hold on to it because his curious mind would have went on the forums and ruined it for him and stuff. Anyways, John, if you haven't seen the rule discussion, you may not know, but I would assume you do. This came off as a surprise to me. Family reunion on round one. Can you deploy off the free move provided by family reunion?
What is family reunion? I'm sorry.
You want to pull it up, JR?
Yeah, let me pull it up right
It's
now.
it's Fulcrum. It's Ahsoka. Or is it
Oh.
Sabine? It's one of them. It's a Sabine. It's a Sabine Ahsoka card. I'm dumb.
Oh, okay.
I wonder do you have to take both of them now to play this card?
I
I
think you
assume
do.
so. Yeah, with the new rules change.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can't just
ooh,
use
Legacy of
Ahsoka.
Mode. Yeah, it does say you have to use both of them. All right, so
Yeah.
Fan Reunion says Ahsoka Tano gains Teamwork Sabine Wren this round. At the start of Ahsoka Tano's next activation, Sabine Wren may make a speed move too. At the start of Sabine's Wren next activation, Ahsoka Tano may make a speed move 2 move.
I'm gonna say no. Because you have to either decide to do that or move on the board. So I'm gonna say no. I
I'm
could be
saying
wrong.
yes. I'm saying yes.
I could be wrong. Just because of Jin, like independent move, I don't think you can do that.
So Seth says if there, he says, "Hi there. If an undeployed unit performs a move, it deploys." Yes.
Yeah.
What?
So, so here's the funny thing. I posted another interaction that blew JR's mind. When you play Leia's No Time for Sorrows, turn one, those 3 units can move onto the field with that speed one move.
Before any actions, they just move on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just
that's
move
moving on.
on.
What? So you get a free scout with that? That's crazy.
Yeah, so let me pull that up real quick because it was
Wow.
weird. It was weird, dude. So watch, check this out. So we're gonna go to our Discord because that's where the good stuff is posted. So what was posted was how does Leia's No Time for Sorrows work in round one? Pretty much the title. Will No Time for Sorrows have any effect on undeployed units played round one? How does it work? Seth says, as described under deploying units callout box, when an undeployed unit performs a move, it deploys, period. The mentioned move need not be performed exclusively during their activation and need not be performed as a part of a move action. The speed 1 move granted by No Time for Sorrow's command card during the command phase may indeed deploy an undeployed unit. So you were telling me you could take Leia and 18 Axe Rebels, give these 3 tokens to Sleeper Cell, and Sleeper
Yep.
Cell's gonna get a free speed move onto the board.
But
Yep,
they
that's
don't get to
speed
use their
three.
scout anymore.
They
Oh,
don't?
that's right. They have
Okay.
Scout.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
never mind.
so
Never mind. Take
so
it
it's,
back.
yeah, it's not
Oh,
as
thank
great as
God.
it could be, but again,
I
it's
was
So
like,
still
you can
great.
scout Wookiees onto the board.
Yes, yes, you can. So,
That's
oh my
so.
God. Mind blown. Holy
See, that's what
crap.
Guard needs. We need free scout. Rex isn't enough.
Oh,
well,
Rex does it enough. He does it enough.
all right. Is that all you got for us today?
That is it. I just thought I'd brought
Okay.
in John. I would hate for Michael to do some move shenanigans. And John's like, I don't think that works. And Michael's like, yes, yes, it does.
That would probably
Kiss
happen.
kiss your arts goodbye.
Wait, what? You can move speed 3? What? Holy
Dude, could
crap.
you imagine if Empire had that? You could quad move a riot control and then do the freaking free scout.
That would be nuts, bro.
Oh my
That'd be nuts.
god, and then new ways to motivate next turn?
Yeah,
Don't give JR ideas.
I'm already
Whoops,
giving
sorry.
them. I'm already giving
Sorry.
them.
Sorry.
Well, boys, thank you guys for joining me. That was a wonderful episode. And any listeners that stay here, thank you for listening. We do appreciate you.
Yeah,
Hope
thank you, John, at work.
yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'd like doing tier lists. Any last words from you, gentlemen?
I will say, oh, go for it. You go first. You're the guest.
Oh, I was just gonna say, ARFs are not F tier.
Jesus, come on,
They're
man.
they're not F tier.
I am taking that to my. I'm dying on that hill until marksmen come out. I'm dying on that hill.
That's why they call it King of the Hill.
There you go. So,
Jeez. I'm gonna do a friendly shout out for our boy Daniel. For those of you who are in our local area, we are trying to broaden our horizons, and one of the ways we're doing that is we have very, very awesome, very friendly, gaming communities within our group. It's not just Legion. We play MCP, we play Shatterpoint, we play SWU, we play Necromunda, we play all this stuff. We got Beyblades coming back for God's sake. So I'm just gonna do a little shout out for our boy Daniel. If you get a shot to check it out, Daniel is resurrecting Shatterpoint locally. I know we got a lot of our local friends that listen. He is going to be doing a Shatterpoint friendly tournament. Um, just he's excited about the new changes that they've made to all the things. So basically he's starting a Legends League in June. Roman will be providing an organized play kit, and he said it should be lots of fun. But we got to highlight the comment real quick. Daniel's comment was, "Man, I wish AMG made cool Star Wars game that made all my favorite characters seem awesome instead of ARC Trooper fodder." So come
again,
out.
just reaffirming the crack. That's all you're doing.
So come out. If Legion ain't your game, we understand. He says it's going to be 4 rounds of Swiss. You have 2 weeks to schedule and submit your games, and Legends will be providing price support. They already have 7 players on board, so I know we're not Shatterpoint lads, but if I get to say anything as my outro is support Daniel, support the community. Star Wars is fun in any way, shape, or form. We all love it. Some things more than others. Andor season 1 is terrible, Rob. Um,
That hold
so
on.
the
That's too many last words you're going on now.
so I just had to stick Rob with that one. But yes, check out our Discord where Daniel has posted stuff about that. Um, Go to Stop By Legends to hear more about it. Message Daniel in Discord or wherever you see him. Even on here, leave a comment. We know he watches, but yeah, show some support for Daniel and the Shatterpoint League that is going to be happening in June. And shout out to Roman and Legends always for supporting our communities in the best way possible.
And then one last thing, and then I'll let JR. Shout out for VetFest. Want to hammer that in too.
Yeah. Trying to definitely that was my last thing is just like
Yeah.
please go to that if you can. That'd be amazing. We want to get that many players as we can. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Always a blast. So
Mm.
anyways, thank you guys for joining me and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later.